guys, this is Justin Strawn, the managing editor at For Whom the Cowbell Tolls, the SB Nation site that covers Mississippi State athletics. Appreciate you guys tuning into the weekend look ahead. It's a new series that I'm trying to start on the website in which I do a weekend look back after a game has taken place with the Bulldogs, and I do one in the middle of the week, the weekend look ahead, in which I take a look at the next opponent that the Bulldogs have lined up. So obviously today is Wednesday. We're still trying to get our feet wet a little bit with the upcoming opponent, the Auburn Tigers. I think it's pretty clear that there's a bunch of things that the Bulldogs are going to have to fix. But let's just take a look at who Auburn is. We'll worry more about what Mississippi State is and what they need to do fix later on in the week. But let's just look at right now who Auburn is. If Mississippi State is going to rebound and win their game against Auburn this week and correct some of those mistakes they had against Georgia, one of the first things they're going to have to do is stop these two guys. These two guys are obviously Cameron Petway and Kerryon Johnson. Cameron Petway, you guys remember, completely shredded this Mississippi State defense last year. They're going to have to find a way to stop him this year. I think the defense is better suited to stopping him this year. I think they have a better chance of stopping him this year, but it won't be easy. Now, both of them are hurt. They've been dealing with injuries. I'm not going to say they're hurt, but they've both been dealing with injuries throughout this early part of the 2017 season. Will they continue to deal with these injuries? I honestly don't know. But it's at least a little bit encouraging that maybe if they're not at 100%, they won't be able to completely shred the defense like they did last year. Cameron Petway, he's off to a good start. He's averaging a little over 100 yards a game in the two games that he's played, but he's only averaging 3.6 yards a carry. A lot of that could be due to the fact that he is nursing an injury. Kerryon Johnson having a good game as well, a good season as well. Not quite up to, I think he's averaging like 50 yards a game or something along those lines. I can't remember exactly where, but it's not as dynamic as what we see with Cameron Petway. Cameron Petway, he's very much a known commodity. He's not going to try to run around you. He's going to try to run you over if you get in his way. And the Bulldogs are going to have to be up to the task at stopping him, unlike they were last year. Now, if those two guys can be contained, the next thing you have to worry about, obviously, is the quarterback, and that's Jarrett Stidham. There's been a lot said about Jarrett Stidham, and a lot of it has come from the fact that he had a lot of hype coming into the season, that people thought he might be able to take this program much in the same direction that Cam Newton did back in 2010. Hasn't happened yet. Don't know that it's going to happen. He's one of the problems that that Auburn has, is their offensive line has not been able to protect him as well. He's been sacked 16 times, but 11 of those came against Clemson. Will he be able to continue? Will the Mississippi State defensive line be able to get to him like Clemson did? I don't know. I doubt it. Clemson's got one of the best defenses in the country, if not the best defense in the country. They're right there with Alabama. But they've got to be able to put the brakes on him. He is having a good season. People really gave him a hard time after that Clemson loss because he got sacked 11 times, but he's completed 70% of his passes. He's averaging a little over 200 yards a game. The one thing he hasn't done is hit big passing plays and get a lot of touchdowns. He's only got 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, so he could be better. There's no question about that in my mind, that he could be playing better. But if you think that he's coming in as a weakness for the Bulldogs to be able to exploit, you're going to be wrong. The only way the Bulldogs are going to be able to exploit anything that Jarrett Stidham can do is if they can dominate the offensive line in a way similar to Clemson. Now, that's asking a lot. I don't expect them to get 11 sacks, but it'd be nice if they were in his face quite a bit and they got 3, 4, 5 sacks on the evening. If they can do that, they'll give themselves a chance to win. But if they can't, if Jarrett Stidham has time to sit back in that pocket and throw, he's going to eat them up. So you're going to have to get pressure on him. You're going to have to do better against that Auburn offensive line than what they did against the Georgia offensive line. Now, probably the scariest part for Mississippi State fans coming to this game is the Auburn defense, because they're very similar to Georgia. They are very good at stopping the run. Their defensive line has shown that they can do that, and it's a scary proposition if you're a Mississippi State fan. They do a really nice job of getting after the quarterback, shutting down the running game, and making life just miserable for your opponents. They took a Clemson offense that has been pretty good so far. They held it to, I think, 17 points, 14 or 17 points. I don't remember exactly where, but they held them pretty much in check. Clemson only ran for 96 yards on 36 rushes. The Auburn defensive line has been dominant. They're only giving up 2.6 yards per carry. It's going to be a tough road to hoe. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, well, Mississippi State, yeah, they didn't play well, but they ran okay against Georgia. Guys, they didn't run that great against Georgia. I've heard a lot of people say this. Yes, they had 177 yards. They averaged like 5 yards a carry. I get that. But remember, a lot of that came in the fourth quarter when the Bulldogs were already completely out of the ball game, and they got a few big runs there at the end by Nick Gibson and Kylan Hill, and it really padded their rushing stats. Up until like the last 7.5 minutes of the fourth quarter, Mississippi State wasn't doing anything on the ground in terms of rushing the football. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get past this Auburn defensive line and to make plays there. So anyway, that's what we're going to be looking at for the Auburn Tigers coming up in their game on Saturday against the Bulldogs. I think the Bulldogs can win. I'm not ready to make a prediction just yet. I think this game is going to be tough to predict because I think Mississippi State has a better chance on the defensive side of the football at controlling things than they did against Georgia. But we'll just have to kind of see because I don't know that Auburn's offensive line is going to match up well with Mississippi State's defensive line and their linebackers. It's going to be a bit of a chess match. I think Todd Grantham and Dan Mullen can make some adjustments, but they do have a difficult task in front of them. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, not ready to make a prediction just yet. I think this is a game that the Bulldogs can win, but it's not going to be easy playing on the road and going up against a defense that was very similar to Georgia's, and that defense pretty much shut the Bulldog offense down. So anyway, as we get closer to the week, we'll look a little bit more at Mississippi State and what they need to do. But until that time, as always, Hail State.